All right, I don't have much talking to do about this. I just wanted to review really quickly what we covered last week, just in case you haven't been able to catch up and watch that video yet. We covered the modernization pathways, and that was how AWS helps organize and plan for modernization. And we covered patterns. So we covered microservices, Strangler Fig, Pub Sub, and Saga orchestration. Easy for me to say. So what we are going to demo for you today, first we're going to do the Strangler Fig, and then we're actually going to do the Pub Sub fan out. Now, please be patient with us today because poor Kavya and I have had a crazy busy week, and you know how it is when you demo and things can always go wrong. We only got to run through this like once or twice together. So bear with us. Hopefully everything goes smoothly. If not, we'll explain what's happening. All right, so the second piece of this, so I am going to show you the Strangler Fig. The second piece of this, decided to add a little bit of flair. As an SA, we are often providing over-the-shoulder guidance, not actually doing hands-on in our customer accounts. There's two reasons for that. One, we don't want to make any mistakes in a customer's account that would cost them dearly. So there's a little bit of that legal and compliance. But also, I really feel like it helps a lot when the person is doing it themselves and they are able to like pause and ask questions. And a lot of times, you know, when you're providing this over-the-shoulder guidance, you're actually able to have the customer fill in some blanks. Like if you draw a blank and you forget to tell them where to click, they'll be like, oh yeah, it's right over here. But it kind of helps them understand and learn faster rather than just doing it for them. So I think everybody can kind of relate to that, considering you all are on this learning journey. So for our second piece of this, Kavya has run through this, and I know she knows it well, but we're going to do a little role play, and I'm going to give her some over-the-shoulder guidance, and we'll see how that goes. It'll be kind of interesting. We're a little nervous. All right, so our first architecture, you probably remember this from last week, is Strangler Fig. And I'm actually going to walk you through this myself, just adding a proxy integration in API Gateway and adding a new service and testing that out. One of the things I want to note is that the modernization pathways and patterns workshop that you all have been going through week by week actually does show you this. However, the instructions tell you just to ask, I think, QCLI, right, to go ahead and build this for you. So if you were to look behind the scenes in your account after asking QCLI to do this for you, you'd see something very similar to what I'm going to show you how to set up today. Yeah, so with that said, let's go ahead and get to the demo. And bear with me, I'm going to stop sharing and reshare my AWS account. Resharing. All right. Kavya, can you confirm for me if you can see my console window?
Yes, we can see a console. Could you zoom in a little bit?
I can.
Yeah, this looks good.
Better? Okay. All right. So let me go ahead and let's talk a little bit about what I have already set up for us and what we're going to do here. So what I have is just like in the workshop that you all are able to access and run in your own accounts, I actually am going to run this right against EC2. I didn't actually have time to move it to the storefront UI to an S3. So I'm just going to proxy this directly to the EC2 instance. But let's take a look at that. So if I go ahead and open EC2, you can see that I have a monolith. It's got everything running on this one EC2 instance. These are not microservices. It's this mono to micro instance I have running. It's, oops, I did not need to click on this one. And bear with me as my screen's a little slow, delay. And you can see that we have indeed a running EC2 instance. And we've got this public DNS right here of EC2 Compute 1, Amazon AWS.com. I did not do a special DNS entry for you. So let's take a look at what's running on that. This is where I'm giving a little cheat, first of all. And we have the Unicorn Shop, where you can shop for floats, anything that has anything to do with unicorns. And I think we're all familiar with this, but that is indeed running on that EC2. Now, I am going to show you what I actually originally had up on the screen. We've got different API endpoints already on this EC2. So if I went, all I had to do was type /API/unicorns, and I'll even pretty print this for us. And you can see this is the same, this is that same storefront via API access. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this first step and go to API Gateway and create a proxy. And that proxy plus, which is a greedy path as a resource. And the reason why we're going to do that is because adding that proxy plus says send all traffic that is after this URL with API in it to this monolith, right? Just like we talked about last week. So let's go ahead and go into API Gateway.
Carol, if you don't mind, would you zoom in a little bit more? We see requests for zooming in. Yes, thank you.
And one of the things maybe we can do, I don't know how you all feel about this, is I don't know if Ashish or one of you can maybe get rid of us. You don't need to necessarily see us as we're presenting. If that would give more space to the demo, that might also help. Up to you. I'm okay if you don't. Just keep letting me know. Let me go back here and talk through what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new API. You can ignore the setups API that I created a long time ago for a completely different purpose. So I'm going to create an API, and I am going to create a REST API. And yes, I'm going to create a new API, and we're going to call it Unishop. It's going to be regional. IPv4 is fine. Let's go ahead and click create. Now, we want to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and create a new resource. I like to start my APIs with an empty resource here. Let's go ahead and create one. And this is where we're going to select proxy resource. So let's take a look at this. Proxy resources handle requests to all sub resources. And one way you can think about this is all the sub paths of the URL. So we're going to create one that was EC2 instance /API. And it's almost like a star. Like think of it like asterisk, like API/anything. So we are going to use a path parameter, and we're going to type this just like it says, proxy plus. And we'll go ahead and create the resource. Now we've got this resource for Proxy Plus that says send all the traffic that comes in down through here to anything that's after this proxy. So now we need to create a method because we still don't even have an endpoint for this proxy, right? So let's go ahead and create method any HTTP proxy any. And now I want to get this endpoint. copying and pasting for you. Bear with me. Proxy. We're just going to pass through that content so that any downstream or child resources underneath of here will just get the payload as it is. It's really just passing it through this proxy. Nothing else really needs to be set up. And here we go. All right, so now we have a proxy integration. Let's take a look at this. Let's see if we can test this by selecting, we'll use method get. We want to get those unicorns. So the proxy value is going to be unicorns. And I don't even need any parameters. Let's test it. And look at that. We have proxied the request from that's coming into API Gateway directly to that unicorns endpoint where we have a giant glitter unicorn pool floaty. Who doesn't want one of those?
Awesome. I have a question here. So do we consider these unicorns as a microservice now?
No. This is going to that EC2. There's a function within that EC2 running within the application that has this path. So if you notice, this is on an EC2. This is not actually a microservice yet.
Okay, thank you.
But that's a great question. Right now, we're just passing all the traffic to the EC2. The EC2 is handling that routing. All right, so next, let's go ahead and create a new path. So let's say that we have a microservice now for creating a user. And if I will show you really quick in Lambda that I already actually have a create, scroll for you. Hopefully everybody can see. I'm kind of blown up pretty bigly, large.
Yeah, it is good.
Okay, good. So we've got a create user function I've already created as a microservice so that a new user can be added to this to browse, purchase, get a basket and check out and purchase a glitter floaty if they want to. Now this create user function actually has a DynamoDB backend. So we're going to go ahead and test that DynamoDB backend. Let's open that link in a new tab. And sorry, it's very large, so it's a little bit hard for me to browse through. But if you'll take a look here, we've got this Unishop users that's attached to our Lambda. So we're going to test this out after attaching it to the API gateway, routing traffic to creating new users for our website, and make sure that it is actually publishing new users. All right, so we have, let's go back up to this resource and create a new resource. And we are not making this one a proxy, and we're going to call it users. Create resource. So now we have a new resource called users, and we need to create a method. And we are going to make this a post method. So this is not a proxy. This is not greedy and saying any method works. This is only, we want to post a new user. That's what our microservice does. Remember that microservices do a very specific task. And in this case, all it's doing is creating new users. So I'm going to go ahead and close some of these messages in case that gives us more room. I selected the method of type of post. I'm going to integrate it with a Lambda, which is just one of the easy out-of-the-box capabilities of API Gateway. And we can use a Lambda proxy integration, but I'm going to skip doing that. Structured event. That's really about the event structure and setup, and we don't really have time to get through all of that today. So I definitely encourage you to look into what's a proxy versus a non-proxy. But just like it's super easy here in the console, I'm going to scroll back up to the top, create a new message with post. I'm going to select the integration type as Lambda. I'm going to come down here and it's going to let me pick which Lambda I want to integrate it with. And of course, I definitely encourage looking at integration timeouts, method request settings. You can get really fancy, just like in every other API and API proxy tools that are out there. So I do encourage you, if you're interested in this kind of thing, to read into that, but we don't need it for ours. So I'm going to go ahead and select create method. Now let's go ahead and test this. Oh, before we do this, we should probably deploy this API. And I don't have a stage, so I'm going to create a new stage. I'm just going to call it prod. Hey, we're not doing any testing. We're not doing any development. We're going straight to prod. Not a good idea in real life, folks. We all know this, right? Okay, so I have deployed this to prod. Now let's go ahead and go back to this users method and test it, this post method, and test it. So I can come down here to test, and I don't have any query strings, but I definitely need a request body, because what are we doing with this method? What are we doing with this microservice? We're creating new users. So I am going to use, and by the way, this is in JSON syntax. I am going to use our lovely co-host Kavya as a new user for our system. And by the way, it does have capabilities if you need to reformat your JSON, if you're like me and you switch back and forth between JSON, YAML, JSON-ATA. I really like the ability for this like easy formatting. So apparently I did a good job. It didn't find any major issues with the way I had JSON. And let's go ahead and click test. Oh, error code while fetching the user. Apologies. Let's see. Of course, the demo, this worked just fine yesterday, but let's see what the problem is. And I won't spend too, oh, this was supposed to be a post method, not a get method. All right, so I'm not sure what's going on here. And of course, I don't want to troubleshoot this live, but let's go ahead and assume that this had worked. And I want to make sure this is a post method. And let's take a look at the DynamoDB again. So if we want to explore items, Unishop users, we have what I did yesterday as
it perfectly worked yesterday.
It worked perfectly, of course. So you can see that I added myself as well to the users. And so without troubleshooting the API gateway, and of course, always something happens when I'm doing a demo, so I apologize for that, but you can easily see that this is really not difficult. You do want to do a little troubleshooting later, we can do that, and I can send out like a quick update with a video or something like that if people are really curious on seeing this work. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to pause there, and we want to switch over. Oh, and by the way, again, I kind of mentioned this in the beginning, the modernization workshop that you all are walking through in your own accounts as part of this series. You should be able to go ahead into your API gateway console and see something very similar to how this is working. So hopefully that works. I'm going to pause on sharing, and we're going to go back and talk through the next section where we're going to show you the pub sub or fan out pattern. And a couple of clicking. One more second. All right, so hopefully you all, this is coming up. Hopefully you will see. Let me know, Kavya, when it shows
Yeah.
up for you. Was that a yes? You can see it, or it's still coming?
It's still
coming.
Okay.
Let's try
Meanwhile, we have a question around the topic we discussed, asking why is it proxy and not proxy plus in the URL?
So proxy, that's a great question, actually. Thank you for asking that. The plus is actually a nomenclature that says, that tells API Gateway anything. So I could have hit unicorns, I could have hit users, I could have hit unicorn basket. That plus is really the indicator. And what I typed proxy plus when I set up the resource and the method. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, no.
Oh, okay. When I set mine up, I went ahead and typed proxy plus for the, just so that it made sense. But I could have typed anything. I could have called it unicorns plus. I could have typed, I could have typed shopping basket plus. It didn't really matter what I called it. That plus is indicative that yes, we selected type of proxy, and that plus is kind of it's actually akin to, just think of it as star or asterisk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
that's a great explanation. Yes. Now the question is answered.
Awesome. Okay. I am resharing. Let me know if that worked.
You're still waiting for it.
Really? It says it's sharing.
Yeah, now I can see the screen.
Awesome. All right. So this should look a little bit familiar to you if you attended last week or watched the video. What we're doing a little bit differently is a slightly different application, right? So this is the pub sub fan out architecture where we have a pet owner who is submitting a request for a new pet insurance policy via our website. So last week we kind of showed the rideshare, like your rideshare driver submitting a completed request. This week, just because this is what I actually had already built, and we were able to reuse some of that infrastructure's code to show this. So what we're going to show you in the next demo is we have a new policy request from a pet owner coming through, and that's coming through to a Lambda. That Lambda, what we're going to show you is we are going to create an SNS topic for new policy requests, and we're going to notify a couple of downstream capabilities like pet portal notification or maybe the pet counter, either one. And then the large account notification is another subscriber. So what we're also going to show you is that SNS, we're going to filter this out so that the large account notification only happens when the pet count is greater than 2. All right. And this is also where we're going to do a little bit of our role play with over-the-shoulder support with Kavya. So I am so excited. And just like Wednesday, I want her to show me. All right. So I'm going to stop screen sharing, and I am going to let Kavya take over.
Yes, let me take over and start sharing my screen.
And I get to try to tell her in front of all of you how to do this. And I will say, she actually already knows how to do this. So anywhere that I mess up, she will be able to show us.
Yes. Could you please confirm if you can see my screen here?
It's coming. There we go. Yep, I
Awesome.
see it now. And of course, if you want to make that bigger.
Yes, I would do that.
Perfect. All right.
Okay.
So what we're showing first, so Kavya has already opened up our new policy request Lambda. If you all remember what that looked like on the architecture screen. And what we need to do now is, Kavya, if you will open up SNS, or Simple Notification Service, we need to create a new topic. So as an essay who's just learning, all about AWS, we are going to take a look at, so you've already created the topic. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. So I was actually going to have you step through creating a topic, but that's okay. So it's really simple. You literally just create a new topic, and I think it's basically there you go. A standard type, you name it, and what else? Hit go. That's it.
That's it.
Now, there are, and you do want to look at some of those encryption settings, especially if you're doing things across account with SNS. But today, we're just doing something super simple. So let's go ahead and select that new policy request, take a look at it. Super simple. And now what we need to do is, have you already added this ARN of this new policy requests into the Lambda? So let's go back to the Lambda and take a look at that really quick.
Sure. Let me move
So
back
what
to the
we needed,
Lambda.
yeah, look at all the Lambdas she has. That's awesome. That's my favorite.
Sorry about that.
No, I love it. All right. So in this Lambda that we built just using some simple Python is a section where we want to say trigger, when we get a new request, we need to trigger the SNS. So let's scroll down to where you had to add that ARN to your Lambda. There you go. So the response to the Lambda code is going to say publish to SNS. And there simply, we add the topic ARN. I don't expect everybody now to understand all of the Python. If you do, if you're like me and you love Python, then you'll understand that this makes a lot of sense. But basically in our code, we're saying send the event that we're getting after we do a little processing to the topic. All right.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and get out of, we'll leave this tab out there. Why don't you go back to the SNS topic?
Yes.
And we will take a look at creating a subscription. So if you recall, we had two downstream subscribers. So remember, this is called a pub sub, or publish subscribe. I call it fan out all the time, but because it looks like a fan, right? So let's go ahead and we've got our publisher. That's the new policy Lambda. And it's publishing to this topic that's new policy requests. Let's go ahead and select our downstream Lambdas. Notice that Lambda, can you pause on that? Can you go back to that drop down? I just want everyone to take a look at all of the available endpoints that you could be publishing to. You can publish SNS to SQS, SNS, HTTP endpoints, HTTPS endpoints, Kinesis. So there are lots of ways to fan out your data to downstream consumers. In this case, we just have two Lambdas that we're going to select. If you want to go ahead and choose that Lambda, and let's go ahead and select your endpoint. And I think, were we doing our pet counter or pet portal? Either one, pet portal.
Pet portal notification.
Let's do that one. And go ahead and let's save that. Create your subscription.
Okay.
Of course, our demo gods are angry with us for some reason. Oh, it already exists.
Let me check it once again.
Yeah, if you go to Lambda, you just have to go and
just delete this one.
Yes. Is that already? Did you already have? Is it there? Okay.
Let us check.
I think so.
The issue is.
This is a great thing about doing over the shoulder. Is like, I am not sure what all Kavya may have done like while we were offline, right? So definitely real life here. All right, so we've got pet portal notification subscription. Interesting. Yeah. This is what happens when you do practice too. Sometimes if we don't clean up what we did. So do me a favor, hit cancel and I'll show you what the problem is. This is also live troubleshooting. Woohoo!
Okay.
So let's go to your Lambda console and open up that pet portal notification Lambda.
Sure.
I bet you it still has a trigger.
Oh, got it. Yes.
Yes. So let's go ahead and click on, if you scroll down, I think, yeah, click on that and delete.
Delete it. Okay.
Yeah. So, it's funny, over time, I've seen a lot of things happening in AWS where like you may have deleted that notification, but if you don't go and remove it from the Lambda, then it'll stick around because AWS is afraid of deleting stuff on your behalf.
Wow, I learned it today, just today.
Yep, you did, right? So, all right. So let's go back to that SNS subscription and resubscribe that Lambda.
Yes, let me delete the existing one here. Create a new one.
And I'm seeing a bunch of interesting comments that are so true. You learn more from the errors that you get than when you have like smooth performance. When you do have to troubleshoot, that is 100%. 100%. I cannot tell you how much I've learned from banging my head against the wall because I'm getting an error I don't understand.
Yeah.
So
completely agree with that.
This is where your learn and be curious skills are going to be really big. Like bang your head against the wall, figure it out, and you will never forget. Right? That's how I know so quickly to tell you to go to that Lambda and get rid of the trigger, right?
Yes.
You think that has happened to me before? It definitely has. All right, yeah. So let's go ahead. You created that subscription. Let's go back to the new policy request Lambda and let's test it. So if I recall, I would go to that test tab just in case.
Yes.
You don't have to if you don't want to. This is also preference, and I should not have done that. By the way, that was a bad move on my part. I prefer the test tab because I can reformat the JSON using the little one-click button there. Yeah. And the other little test button, I know that from the code view, doesn't give you that. So, by the way, just so you all know, these are actually my pets.
Kitty, kitty, bang, bang.
Yep. Kitty, bang, bang is my barn cat, and Otis is my goat. All right. So let's go ahead and hit send.
Okay. Test there.
Yeah. Test. Please work. Please work. Yay! So now, where do we want to go see this? We want to go make sure that that pet portal notification Lambda was triggered and that it ran. So if you want to hop over to that pet portal notification Lambda and check the CloudWatch logs by going to the monitor.
Okay,
and then click on
CloudWatch logs to see if this is
yes, just
invoked.
to see if it was triggered, invoked. Right. Now you can actually see if you really just want to see whether or not it was invoked, you can see if there was a duration spike on the tabs. Okay. I like to do what you did, which is let's go ahead and go to the view CloudWatch logs like you did and scroll down and let's see if it triggered today.
Yes, it did.
Yay! Awesome. And awesome. So that is our latest. That just happened a few minutes ago. So we know that the SNS subscription is working and triggering that Lambda. But we have one more to do. Let's go back over to the SNS topic. Yes. And go ahead and click on, let's create another subscription. What we want to show is that large event notification. So we only want that large event notification to happen if there are 2 or more pets. So we're going to go ahead and click on create subscription.
Before that, I'm going to delete the trigger, which is attached to large account notification as well.
Oh, you already tested that one too. Okay, cool.
Yes. Let me open that. And let's delete this one.
Yep. Perfect.
And let's go back to the new request. Oops.
And it's funny, I was noticing in the chat too. I will address what Marco had wrote. Number one rule of live demos: don't do live demos. And I will tell you that is so true. That if you really want it to work, don't do it live, because there's always something like, for all I know, I might have accidentally got nervous and skipped a step in the API gateway, and that's why it's not working, but I won't be able to figure it out live.
Mm-hmm.
So what you'll see often is people will record their demos and record a really good one and then show that. Now, my problem with that is I can tell it's recorded. I know you're not live, and I don't get to like interact with the crowd when I record. So while yes, it's a very good idea to record a demo, know your audience. If people would rather see you maybe make a mistake and fix it, or make a mistake and move on, then maybe live is okay. But I agree with Marco. If it's a really big deal, record it first.
Yes.
All right. So sorry, I went off the rails there a little bit. Let's get back on track. What we're doing now is creating another subscription to another Lambda that is only going to look for things that are when the policy request has more than 2 pets.
Okay.
So you went ahead and found that large account notification. It's a large account because there's more than 1 pet on there, right? So there's a goat and a cat. Oh my gosh, that's a large account, apparently. So let's go ahead and create a subscription filter policy.
Yes.
And this is actually a great way to not actually do a whole lot of work. You can have one topic, you can have multiple subscribers, and each of them can have their own different filtering like I only want this subset of messages, events that you're sending through. Okay. So Kavya went ahead and put in our large event notification. Do you want to explain what this means?
Yes. So we are now doing a large account notification, which means that it should have more number of pets. So here in this case, we are considering that more number as 2, which means if there is only pet type 2, we think that as a large account notification, and that's what we have mentioned here. If that exists, then go ahead and invoke my Lambda there.
Yeah. So in summary, if there's more than 1 pet, then there's going to be a pet type 2. Therefore, we only want to get notified if pet type 2 exists. So very good. Hopefully that was super simple, and maybe gives you all some ideas on how to filter events in an interesting way. Because that was definitely one when we were figuring out like, hey, what's the best way to write this given the data that we're coming through? Oh, a second pet has to exist if it's a large account. So, pet type 2 exists. That's easy.
Yes.
All right. So let's go ahead and create the subscription.
Successfully.
Yay. So we successfully created subscription. Let's go ahead and test it and see if this comes through.
Okay. We are just using the same test event here. And then test succeeded. So now let's move on to large account notification. And like Carol, you were mentioning, we can monitor using the monitor tab here, and then CloudWatch logs, correct?
Yep. Perfect. See, this is another great thing to do. Notice that I just kind of shut up and let Kavya talk. I'm kind of testing to see this is a great thing to do. Not testing, like not formal tests, but kind of sense to see where the customer or the person you're working with, how they're doing. Are they kind of picking up with what they're going on? So yeah, just calling that out from a guided situation. All right, so I'll let you keep going.
So yes, we can see that the event is successfully triggered, which means we are able to send our topic, invoke a Lambda, because we have 2 pet types. One is goat and one is cat.
Yay!
So successfully we have completed the execution here.
Now, Kavya, can we do the test to show only 1 pet? Or if we want to, up to you.
Yeah, let's do pet type 3. And in reality, we don't have a third pet type in our code. So let's just maybe test with that filter, making it as 3. So we can see
Okay.
that there's only pet type 2.
So you
Yeah.
go ahead and start working on that, and I'm going to kind of re-explain. So now we want to consider large accounts only those customers that have more than 3 pets. And then we're going to send the test through and show. Now, before you test this, let's go ahead and delete the CloudWatch logs so that we can
Yes,
prove that nothing's there on the large pet.
for sure.
So if it's got a third pet, then it's truly a large account. So what we want to show you by saying we only want to see things with 3 pets is that the filter's actually working, right? We
Mhm.
should see no CloudWatch log for
For
this latest test. So, okay, great. Go ahead and test.
yes.
And you can talk through it as you're doing if you want.
And let me go to the test tab and test it here with the same records.
Yep. And it
And let
succeeded really fast. Like your internet connection must be awesome.
demo
That
gods
is
are
not mine.
working.
It would have been slow.
Oh no. Let's open the CloudWatch logs here. Oops. This
Nope,
is not
that's your
the
new
one I
policy.
should test
You want the
one.
large one. There you go.
Yes. Let me refresh and view the CloudWatch logs. Yay. There are no
There's
logs.
nothing. Yay. Why? Because our SNS subscription filter filtered it out and did not send it. So, all right. Well, with just 10 minutes left at the top of the hour, I think that we are good to go. I hope everyone
Mhm.
has enjoyed our time. And was there anything that you wanted to talk about, or wondering if there's any questions that maybe we
Mhm.
can answer from the chat?
Yeah, as a customer, I would like to summarize what I have just did. So I took some data which I am sending to new policy through my test event here, and these are my pet names and values, and that data is being passed to, I mean, we are making two notifications to take that data and invoke two other lambdas, which are large account notification and pet portal notification. So whenever we trigger this source, those topics needs to be us activating or invoking the lambda functions and working in the backend. And that's what we just tested, right?
Correct. Very good. Very good summary. Um, all right. So, what else can, if there are any questions? No. All right. So I'm going to switch back. I'm going to take over sharing and switch back to the final slide that has a couple of additional links on it. And if I can, it'll take me the whole last 10 minutes to do this, right? And first I need to present, then I get to share. Here we go. Oh, good question. Someone has asked, can I add email as a subscriber and send email based on filter instead of invoking Lambda? Absolutely. So this is what we had just shown. And I just wanted to wrap this up with the modernization patterns and pathways. This is the same slide that we showed last week, but hopefully this is helpful for anybody who wants to take a look. And I think, yes, we can absolutely share the link to the modernization workshop that a lot of this content was based on. I definitely recommend if you need to double check in your accounts to make sure that any of the services that are created aren't going to cost you an arm and a leg in your own account. But you can definitely check out that serverlessland.com workshops. One that's really fun, I think, is fun to learn more of these modernization integration patterns. is the Innovator Island. So it's like a roller coaster rides, and you have to develop the queues for that. So definitely a really fun one to check out. Just remember, make sure you delete everything is wiped out of your account so it doesn't charge you. But yeah, I think somebody will add, again, it is on the BeSA program website, like I think all the links that to the modernization workshop for this batch. And that's it.